And thank you, Ann Lewis, for getting me here, keeping me organized, and having this presentation in front of you. As she said, I'm the president, CEO of Klondike Gold Corp. Strangely enough, we are a junior explorer looking for gold in the Klondike area of Yukon. We do have BC claims, which I won't mention, and they're all for sale if anybody wants to know. Around the Klondike, we have 557 square kilometers, beginning directly of quartz claims, directly outside of Dawson. Dawson in the lower right. If you go across the bridge, as most of you know where Dawson is, you're basically on our claims just past the dredge. In 2013, I'd never heard of Klondike Gold Corp. I was invited to do a desktop review of the company by Frank Justra, who then controlled most of or a majority of the shares. He was asking, he'd invested in the company because the company had about half the land position we have today. He wanted to know how come the 20 million ounces of gold in the alluvial placers, which everyone academically had shown to be locally derived, why had no one found the source of any of that in the last 120 years? In reviewing the data, I had access to the company's records over the course of 4 months in late 2013 and identified a fault system that had previously been unrecognized. And to me, it seemed to explain, at least on a macroeconomic or a macro level, how the gold could have been introduced into the Klondike, and it was something that nobody had ever seen before or explored for. Part of the attraction from the desktop level is that this property does lie directly outside of Dawson, so the airport is almost on our claims. Dawson as a community is there, the power source, substation. It's a paved road up the Bonanza Road for about half the distance to our claims. Just recently, the Canada-Yukon Roads to Resources initiative introducing $300 and some odd million worth of roads upgrades. All of the roads you see within the yellow area there will be upgraded because they are all mining resource roads. The black line coming through is the road to the Kaminak deposit, and also on the way to Golden Saddle. So we have excellent infrastructure. Our drilling costs and our operating costs in Yukon so far over the last 3 years are the lowest, certainly in Yukon, and I would compare them directly to Timmins in terms of cost. It's exceptionally cheap exploration. Again, it relates to the economic potential here. We don't have to find a fantastic high-grade deposit to make this work. Anyway, the other thing is, on the last slide, we have 55 kilometers of strike, and those claims cover nearly the entirety of the Klondike, the former Klondike gold fields, with the exception of Trifecta's very best property, which is probably in the middle of ours. So going back to the orogenic model, what we identified in the desktop review turns out to be what's labeled on here as the Rabbit Creek Thrust. It's a first order major through-growing thrust structure, and coming off it are a number of extensional faults. One of the first orders of business from 2015 till now is to actually prove that there is gold in the bedrock there. So we've drilled on the Nugget Fault in the middle, hit 5 grams over 14 meters, and we have a 200-odd meter strike length to that zone, open in both ends. On the Eldorado Creek Fault, we've drilled 76 grams over 3 meters. Again, these are in high-grade quartz veins, which is the traditional thing that people have looked for in the Klondike. What's new is we've just released results from the Bonanza Fault up on the top. We drilled a 1 kilometer long zone at 50 meter centers. All of those holes have hit. It's a low-grade bulk tonnage style target. Disseminated gold, which is the first time anybody's ever really realized that there's potential for disseminated. Best hole was 2.7 grams over 38 meters, but there's 130 meters of cross-strike mineralized material there, and that has significant potential. In a bigger picture, what has yet to be recognized, but we are beginning to get there, is that Rabbit Creek Thrust as drawn on the map here, is that same thing that was revealed in the desktop review. It extends the entire way through the Klondike. It is controlling, I believe, all of the gold mineralization and bedrock. At Gold Run, the last thing we did last year, we went down there, identified the Rabbit Creek thrust at Gold Rock, Gold Run, 55 kilometers away, identified quartz veins. There's a news release coming, but also significantly identified a large, in aerial extent, zone of disseminated gold. It looks exactly like the Lone Star zone that we just drilled. I think from a metallogenic point of view, we're dealing with an orogenic gold belt, and there's significant previously unrecognized potential for lots and lots of discoveries. Our capital structure, we have basically 100 million shares issued. We have, to my count, 8 billionaires as shareholders, principally Frank Giustra and Eric Sprott, also a number that are, well, there's a number of others. Collectively, we control over about half of the shares. Currently have $6.5 million in cash and another $7.5 million available in the money warrants owned by insiders and major shareholders. Yukon is a fantastic place to do business. It's worthy of investment by all the majors. Most 6 out of 10 of the world's biggest are there. And anyway, I believe there's going to be a lot of discoveries coming soon now, and it's the time of cycle where all of us stand to deliver good results to you, the shareholders. Thank you very much.